for science!
What is up, guys? Willie Dills back here with another Karazhan set review. This is part 3 of 5. Karazhan is coming out tomorrow, so I got to finish these as fast as possible. All right, let's just get right down to it, all right? We're going to go through 9 cards today. The Firelands Portal is a 7 mana mage spell. It reads, deal 5 damage, summon a random 5 cost minion. All right, so let's break this down. This is a card that has caused a little bit of an uproar just because it's a common card, which I did not mention. But it's a common card, so we'll be seeing quite a bit of... You'll see it a lot as a pick in Arena. So dealing 5 damage, you could say equates to maybe 3.5 mana worth, give or take. Think about a card like Lava Burst, right? 3 mana, but it's got the overload. So, and then think of a card like Fireball, 6 damage for 4 mana. So we're talking 5 damage. We'll say 3.5 mana is about right for that. And then you also get a 5-drop on top of that. And in the 5 slot, you'll probably get somewhere in the range of about 4/4 or so on average, I'm guessing. I didn't do all the math on that yet, but I'm gonna guess it's somewhere in that range. And the randomness of a random 5, like the randomness of the 5-drop, without the battle cry, I'm going to put that in like the 4 mana slot. That's about 4 mana worth. Anyway, so we're going to say this is about 7.5 mana worth of card for 7 mana. That's pretty good. As far as competitive play in Constructed, I think you won't see this in every deck. You'll see it in very specific decks. I think a Grinder Mage and a Reno Mage would definitely be playing this card. A Tempo Mage, though, like this is pretty high up on the curve. I doubt you'll really be seeing it there. The fact that the 5 damage can go face is a pretty big deal. But really where this card is going to make its big impact is Arena. It's a common card, like we said. Mage already has lots of great removal options. And this card in the late game, in a top decking situation, will oftentimes kill whatever the opponent has on the board, play your own 5-cost minion, and just be a complete reversal in tempo. So, all in one card. So, when you top deck this at the end of a game in Arena, it's just going to be such a huge difference between winning and losing that game. It might just be the card that just outright wins games in many cases. It's just a card that I think is going to do tons and tons of work in the Arena environment. And Mage did not really need help in Arena. So, I kind of wish that this card was rare just because it doesn't make a difference in Constructed. It would only make a difference in Arena, and I just think, yeah, this card just it's tilting the scales a little bit too far, in my opinion, towards Mage again. So not too happy about how this, like, I don't mind the card itself, I just wish it was rare. Cara Kazaam. It's a 5-cost Warlock spell. It's a common, and it reads, summon a 1/1 candle, 2/2 broom, and 3/3 teapot. I'm not really into the cartoon movies, so I don't have some affinity for, what is this? The Beauty and the Beast. It's not like a thing that I love, but this is cute. This is funny. Let's just break it down as a card, though. 6/6 worth of stats for 5 mana. And we already have cards that do that. Silverhand Knight would be the most notable, I think, which is a 4/4 and a 2/2 for 5 mana. So this spreads it out across 3 bodies, and it's also a spell, which could potentially make a difference. At some point, it's not a minion that then battle cries something else out. So I guess if you were playing like a Yogg Warlock, then this would power up your Yogg. Or you could play Cho'Gall and then play this for 5 health instead of 5 mana. Ooh, I don't think that's really going to happen. But I think the card will be picked in Arena. It is a common card. And in Arena, just throwing stuff out on the board can be a really big deal because there's a lot more minion trading. People tend to just have less removal built into their decks already. Removal is a premium there. And do you really want to be using removal on the 3/3, 2/2, or 1/1? Probably not. So you'll probably see these cards actually do get some trading value. And that's, that's fine. I think this is going to be an okay card in Arena. But as far as Constructed goes, like I said, only maybe like some Reno locks might try to make this card work. And I really don't think that that's going to happen. Zoo has much more efficient options. Yes, it's 6/6 for 5. So if you compare it to like a Forbidden Ritual or whatever, like then it's, I guess slightly better. But it's the 5 bodies you get on 5, right? that makes a difference, because Zoo has so many ways to buff things. This gives you the 3 bodies. Still kind of fits into what Zoo's trying to do, but it's just not as efficient as some of the other cards, right? So it's not a terrible card, but as far as getting into a constructed play and seeing play in constructed decks, it's just not quite there. You need to be a little bit more on the broken side of things. You need to be really good, not average at best. All right, next we've got the Moonglade Portal. This is a 6-mana rare spell for druids. It reads, restore 6 health, summon a random 6-cost minion. So on the surface, that seems pretty good, right? You get a 6-cost minion for 6. So already, like, that pays for itself. And then, hey, restore 6 health. The problem here that I find is, while you might be able to make this work and say if Fatigue Druid comes back, the problem with Fatigue Druid, it's not really a good deck to begin with. But this would be a card that would fit there, maybe, because it's more health, more stall, plus a minion that allows you to do some trading and stuff. But outside of that, a Druid doesn't want to play on curve. A Druid wants to play above the curve, right? So a Druid wants to be innovating things out. A Druid wants to be wild growthing and playing 6-cost cards on turn 5 or 4, not on turn 6. That's what really makes Druid as powerful as it is. So in that particular case, you're probably not going to get the value from this heal when you're playing it early on. This is only a card that's going to get that full 6 health value in a later game stage. And yeah, you could use it to heal up like an Ancient of War or something like that, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, outside of that, it's like I just don't see this being a card that has good enough value to overtake some of the other cards that you're already seeing in a lot of Druid decks. Now, I will say this, though. In a Yogg deck, you play Raven Idols, you pick spells. There will definitely be times where you pick this card from a Raven Idol. So you will see this card in play. I think just most of the time it won't actually be in the deck. It'll be a card that gets picked through a Raven Idol. The Dream, though, by the way, Emperor Thaurissan, right? It's just the second Emperor Thaurissan in your deck. That could be pretty sweet. But yeah, I think this card is just slightly below what you put into your deck when you're playing constructed. So just won't quite make the cut. Okay, the Maelstrom Portal. The Maelstrom Portal is a 2-mana shaman spell. It's rare. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions. Summon a random 1-cost minion. Now, in a vacuum, this card looks better than Arcane Explosion, since you get the 1-cost minion, right? But because of the fact that it's a shaman card, not a mage card, it's actually worse, because mages can take advantage of their spells more efficiently. You got things like Flame Waker. You've got cheaper spell damage options, more consistent spell damage options. And the 1-drop is generally going to be pretty low impact. I don't think it's going to make as much of a difference as just the ability to buff up and use the spells in a proactive manner the way mage can. I wish it was a common, because there is a thing where in Arena, Shaman has only rare and epic options when it comes to AoE. So it would be sweet if they got a common card that did some AoE damage, and they didn't. It's a rare too. So I'm a little, I don't know. The way that they've set the rarities up on a lot of these cards, I don't quite agree with, and it makes me feel like Arena isn't really their focus, and that's disappointing. But if it was a common in Arena, I would love this card there. I think it's going to be a card that you're going to pick a lot. I still think when you do see it in Arena, you may pick this card just because AoE is so hard to come by in Arena Shaman. In Constructed, though, Lightning Storm just kind of does enough to do the AoE damage that you're ever going to need. So unless the kind of spell casting shaman that I think they're trying to push with some of the other cards that they've introduced becomes a thing, I don't think this card really makes it into constructed play. Keeping with the portals, we now have the Ironforge Portal. This is a 5-cost warrior spell. It's a common. Gain 4 armor. Summon a random 4-cost minion. So, on the Angry Chicken, I argue this one might see play, but in reality, I don't think it's good enough. The reasoning that I was using was that it's a 5-cost card, and in Warrior, you don't see really any 5-cost cards except for Brawl. And Brawl is a really good card. You probably run 2 of if you're playing Control Warrior. So, the fact is, though, do they need 5-cost cards? Not really. They don't worry so much about curving out. They'd much rather just build a deck full of the late game bombs and the removal. And this doesn't do either of those things. It's not a bomb or removal. It does give you the armor, which can help some of your removal and shield slam. But it's stall because you gain 4 health essentially. However, that I don't think puts it over the top, right? The random 4-cost minion, there's a lot of Battlecry minions in the 4 slot. You could get something like Defender of Argus and you get a 2/3. That's terrible because you don't get the Battlecry effect. So, Warriors have really good cards already, and I just don't think this card has enough punch to break through the really good cards Warrior already has to find a spot in the list. In Arena, you might see it if it's up against 2 really bad cards because it's a 5-cost 4. It's a 5-cost 4-cost minion, 5-cost 4 drop, but you also get the armor too, which may make a difference at some point. But it has to be up against 2 pretty bad cards in Arena, I think. And the problem here is that it is a common, so you will kind of see it a lot. So it's just kind of slightly underwhelming in all places right now. So doubtful that it will see much play. All right, we got another warrior card here. This is Fool's Bane. It is a 5-mana weapon, 3/4 stats, unlimited attacks each turn, can't attack heroes. So unlimited attacks each turn is pretty interesting. And it's like Mega Wind Fury, right? But the fact that you can't attack heroes with it means it's only going to be used for removal. So obviously it won't be an aggro decks because you can't go face. So only control decks would even consider the card. Now the thing is, like, War Axe is so good because it comes out on 2 and it kills 2 early minions and just gets like full value and just stems the tide, gets you into that position as a warrior where you are now always kind of on top of them and they can't quite establish the board that they want to. On 5, the 3 attack is going to be less impactful than on turn 2. So yes, you can start picking away, you can chip away at their board if they have a bunch of things on it, but you could also do a similar thing with just Brawl, 1 Brawl, and you don't have to use up all your health to do so. I feel like there was a different stat line on this card. Maybe it would be a little bit better. If it was like a 4-mana weapon with 3/3, 3 attack and 3 durability and the same effect, I think it actually might be slightly better. Because even though, taking away 1 full durability for 1 mana, like it just makes it more efficient, right? And also gets it out a turn earlier where the 3 attack might be a little more viable. I think on turn 5, it's just not good enough. And if I really want another weapon outside of my Fiery War Axe, I have Gorehowl as an option in control decks. The 7 attack on Gorehowl the first time you swing with it is a huge deal and gets rid of big minions that happen in the late game. The type of minions that you need to be removing. And Fool's Bane, it's only going to be good against certain kinds of decks, right? It'll be really good against Zoo. It'll be really good against Shaman. But against like a Druid or another Warrior or even a Priest, if you ever see them again, it's not going to be that good there. So, yeah, to me, it's on the cusp, but not good enough. This card might be good enough. This is Spirit Claws. It's a 1-mana weapon for Shaman, and it's a 1/3, and it reads, has +2 attack while you have spell damage. It's also a common, so this is a card you will see a lot in Arena. So if there is a spell power based Shaman that becomes viable in this meta, this is an auto include. You definitely put that in there because a 3/3 weapon for 1 is just gross. That's just really good. The problem is that if you play this on 1, you'll have the 1 attack, because you won't be able to get something with spell power out. And then on 2, you better be playing Blood Mage Thalnos or rolling a 1 out of 4 to then get the 3 attack on turn 2. So when you look at it in like a real world situation, I don't think there's enough spell damage options in Shaman that make this card really good. Now, in Arena, it's still like a slightly worse Light's Justice, which Light's Justice actually, that ping effect is really powerful. So, and you get a 1 in 4 chance to somehow end up with a Fiery War Axe effect with a 3 damage. So, I think in Arena you will kind of see this card picked. Although you probably don't want more than 1 or 2 of these ever. It's a card with a lot of potential, I think. But right now, you play it on 1, and then on 2 you have to play something with spell damage, right? And what is that in Shaman? It's your totem. It's Blood Mage Thalnos. Is it a Kobold Geomancer? I don't think so. I don't think so. So yeah, card is has potential, but I don't see it being a card that you're going to see a bunch yet. All right, the Deadly Fork. Deadly Fork is a 3-mana minion for Rogue. The 3/2. It's a common. It is a death rattle. Add a 3/2 weapon to your hand. Now, they don't tell you that the weapon costs 3 as well. So the weapon is a 3 mana 3/2 weapon. So let's break this down. So you pay 3 for a 3/2, which is bad. And then you pay 3 for a 3/2 weapon, which is slightly better, but still also bad. So I get that the value is there because you're getting like 2 cards in one, and you could say like, oh, this is drawing a card. But the card it's drawing, like you're going to fall behind when you play a 3/2 for 3, and then you're going to catch back up by playing a 3 mana 3/2 weapon. Like, I don't know. I think the fact that you're going to fall behind on 3, because you'll play a 3/2 on 3, right? And then they'll play a 3/4, and then they'll kill your Deadly Fork for free, and then you'll play the fork itself. Here, I'll show you the weapon that comes out, the Sharp Fork. Then you'll play the Sharp Fork to finish off their 3/4, taking 3 damage, paying 3 mana, not able to play another minion that turn. Like, when you look at it in a real world situation and how a game kind of plays out in Hearthstone, it just really doesn't seem like it's going to be that impactful. Also, you think about the other cards that you have in the 3 slot in Rogue right now. You got SI7, Van Cleef, Fan of Knives, Shadow Strike. These are cards that see play. To me, it's like, I believe that this card is probably bad, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that if there's a card that proves everybody wrong, proves the pros wrong, proves me wrong, it could be this card. There might be something here that we're all kind of missing, and time will tell. But I'm going to call this card bad right now. And finally for today, the Moat Lurker. So this card is really interesting. This is a 6 mana neutral minion. It's rare, and it's a 3/3. So you're paying 6 for a 3/3. It has a battle cry, though. Destroy a minion. It also has a death rattle. Resummon it. All right, so you destroy a minion, and when this guy dies, that minion comes back to the board. And it will come back to the board in the manner that cards come back when they're not played from your hand, right? So no battle cry, and they'll come back at full health rather than whatever state they were in when they died. This card is really interesting because its effect is one that can be manipulated in a lot of really cool ways. So you won't see this in decks that can't do those manipulating type things. So bouncing it, silencing it, messing with that mechanic in any way. The stats are so bad that it's not just like a good removal option on its own in a deck that can't do something else with this. I guess the real question is, if you have a deck that can do those weird, funky things, is that going to be a top tier deck? Is that going to be a deck that's really competitive? And I'm guessing no right now, but it will be a really fun deck, and you'll have all these fun, cute little plays you can make with it. So let's talk about it. Let's theory craft some of these. So Rogue, you can Shadow Step this, right? So you play it, you destroy something, you Shadow Step it. Now it's a 4-cost 3/3 that does it again. Kill more things with it. You can Panda this back. You can Panda and Shadow Step. Do all sorts of fun things there. Shaman, you can evolve this card with either Master of Evolution or just the card Evolve. This is a 6-cost minion. You're going to get a 7-cost minion, right? So that's pretty good. You play it out, you destroy something, and then you turn it into a 7-drop. And the death rattle goes away. Awesome. Priest, you can purify it. Oh, snap, son. So you play this, you kill a minion, then you purify it, you draw a card, you have a 3/3, and you killed something, and then there's no downside. All right. You can kill your own Sylvanas with this. Steal a minion, then Sylvanas comes back when this dies. Pretty good. So, I mean, you get the picture. There's lots of fun little ways you can manipulate this card, and they are all very cute and interesting. But if you build your deck to be able to do fun little cute Moat Lurker plays, is that a really good deck? Is that a powerful deck? Is that a deck you're taking to a tournament to try to win? I'm not so sure. I doubt it. But I'm definitely going to play this deck or this card and try out weird decks and do all kinds of fun little things with it for sure. This is a super fun card, and I'm really glad that something like this exists. I think it's awesome. You know, it's really cool. It's there's similar effects in Magic where you can play a card that will exile a card until that card leaves the battlefield. But in Magic, you can protect those cards a little more than you can in Hearthstone. You know, in Magic, if it's a minion, you can choose to never block with it or attack with it, and it'll just stay there sitting on the board, keeping that other thing exiled. In Hearthstone, if they feel like they want to attack it, they will whenever they feel like it. So unless you can protect it with taunt, it doesn't quite work the same way. However, I like this effect a lot. I hope to see more stuff with the Battle Cry and Death Rattle. I think that's a really cool thing. And this is an exciting card. I'm excited to see what we can do with it. So Definitely one that I will give a shot. Do I call it top tier? No, not at all. I think it's a card that enables some fun plays, but won't be in high competitive decks. You won't probably see this in a lot of tournaments. All right, guys, that is going to do it for my Karazhan review number 3. Stay tuned. We got 2 more of these, 18 more cards to go. And really excited to try actually messing with all these cards. Please feel free, comment below on what you think about these cards. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And also check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/WillyDillsSF. If you enjoy this type of content and you want to see it continue, you can become a patron of mine. If you really like this content and you want to see it continue, you can become a patron of mine, patreon.com/WillyDills. There's some other really cool things going on with that. We have a nice little community over there. And also soon we will be starting our very own Dills Hearthstone Patron League, or Dills Patron Hearthstone League, sure, however it goes, which is going to be a league that continues on and on. We'll have seasons, and we'll have weekly matches against other patrons. It's going to be super cool. So please check that out, and have a great day. Love you guys. See you next time.